Welcome everybody to another episode of the Black Wealth Renaissance Podcast. Your boy David BWR, 1/4 of the Black Wealth Renaissance, checking in my co-hosts. Fellas, how y'all feeling?
What up? It's your boy Jalen here, checking in, man. I'm feeling great. It's a lovely Saturday, beautiful blue skies. Can't wait to get this podcast episode going, man. Been waiting on this one.
What's good? What's good? What's good? It's your boy Jared. Another 4th of the Black Wealth Renaissance checking in. Trying to get my lighting together over here so I can stop looking like an unlocked character. But other than that, I'm feeling real good this Saturday. How y'all doing?
You do look like you on Mortal Kombat, my brother.
Lie,
Fight.
Yeah, I'm done. Man, but yeah, like Jalen said, man, once again, y'all, we got another great episode. Maybe our boy Kelly be able to hop on later. We're not sure, but we got a fire episode for y'all this Saturday. We got our good brother on this episode, a good friend of ours, a friend of the show, friend of Black Wealth Renaissance for a minute, out of OKC, a business coach and strategist, Mr. George Pitts. George, how you doing, my brother?
Man, I'm good, man. What about you guys?
Man, we doing great, bro. I just want to say thank you for coming on, bro. This has been a long time. We had you on the live. You done dropped some gems. We done put some gems that you done dropped on the page. And I'm ready for this one, my dog.
The audience need this one because, like, my brother, he be dropping them gems on how you gonna get that bag.
Yeah, man. He really just monetize everything. Every time I talk to him, it's monetize everything. And when I tell you, my brother, he with it, y'all.
Yeah. 100%, man. 100%.
Appreciate it. But look.
So George, to kick off the show, man, we want to just ask you, like, how'd you get your start, man? Like, what led you to becoming a business coach? Like, how did you come up?
So, man, I'll go back a little bit farther. Whenever I was working for this company, man, and, I was kind of struggling in the work that I was doing. So I asked the lady, man, because I had been there for about a month and I hadn't really got trained. So I said, hey, man, I'm going to need some training or whatever. And, I went to my director, and she looked at me in the eye, man. She was like, I'm going to get you all the training you need. I'm so glad you came to us and told us, that you needed some help. A lot of people, they'll just try to figure it out and mess things up, yada, yada, yada. But we appreciate you. We're going to get you all the training you need. So, man, at the end of the day, I'm packing up my stuff to go, man. I'm feeling good about myself. And my manager comes up and was like, hey, I'm going to walk you out. I said, okay. It's the end of the day, So she's like, hey, I need to stop by HR real quick and drop some papers off. Come over here with me. So I was like, all right, cool. She's like, just sit right there. I'll be right back. So, man, next thing I know, about 3 minutes later, the HR director comes down. She's like, Mr. Pitts, are you ready? I kind of look at her like, what? Ready for what? I'm ready to go home. And she's like, and she kind of looked at me like, you don't know why we're here, So she brings me into her office and she's like, so I understand that you're wanting to leave the company and we totally understand your decision. And I looked at her, I was like, wait, what? And, she's like, so you didn't say that that you're voluntary resigning and, all this other stuff because I got all your paperwork here. I said, absolutely not. So I explained to her exactly what I just told y'all. And she just kind of shook her head and she's like, look, because we live in an at-will state, which when you live in an at-will state, that means an employer can get rid of you for whatever reason and you can't do nothing about it unless you can prove that it was, racial, whatever. And most of the time you can't. So she's like, either you can go ahead and take this resignation and what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a month of severance, which we weren't going to do, but I'm going to do. I want you to put everything down and I'm going to send it to corporate, or you can come back to work tomorrow and they can let you go and it counts as a termination. This was like 2 weeks before Christmas. So I'm like, damn. So I just went ahead and took the resignation so I could get the severance because I'm like, man, So I went home and I'm just like, what am I going to do? Because I was living paycheck to paycheck. I was living okay. I had we had a decent, apartment. We, a condo at the time, had decent cars, but we was paying on everything. And we were living paycheck to paycheck. So I'm like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. And so, if you ever trying to look for a job during the holidays, you ain't going to find one. You know what I'm saying? So, man, what I did was the next day I was warming up my wife's car so she could get ready to go to work. because, you know, we didn't have remote start and it was in the wintertime. And I remember watching her drive off. And as a man, I was thinking, damn, my wife's about to go and work and my ass is at home. You know what I'm saying? And it hit me like, I don't want that, you know. And it hadn't even been 24 hours, but that's just where my mindset was at. So, man, after I crawled in bed, man, was starting to get depressed, and then something said, get up, go in there and get on your computer and start, you know what I'm saying, start figuring this out. So, man, I started learning, and I started finding out about eBay and how you could sell stuff on eBay. And then I started finding out about working home jobs. So anyway, man, during that time, I got a job, started working from home during that time for QVC, taking calls from people who were ordering stuff during Christmas on the computer. And then I was selling stuff on eBay and learning that. So then fast forward about, 6-8 months later, I got on Periscope, which is this streaming app. And I started talking about, hey, here's some of the stuff that I'm going to the post office to drop off for eBay. And everybody started asking me, yo, do you do a class? Do you teach people about that? I didn't know about none of that stuff. And so after so many people kept asking me about it, man, I eventually, instead of just taking people's money and like, yeah, I'll show you, I hired me a coach. And he taught me everything about coaching, offers. And, man, after that, I opened it up. And I ain't looked back since, man. That was in 2014.
Man, yeah, that's dope, bro.
That's a beautiful story, bro, because yeah, it's a lot of things in there that I love, but that theme of persistence and just like whenever you said that moment, you was like, you got down in that bed and you was like, damn, like I was about to feel depressed, but then something just said, get up and go figure it out. That's like the realest shit to me, bro.
And I also like how your story, like whenever you started figuring out, okay, man, this is something I don't know, this might be a little bit out of my league. You, with the job, you asked for training. And even before you started the coaching, you went go find you a coach so you can deliver your best self to the people that you trying to help. So I really like that too out of your story, because it shows that, okay, I don't want to just be mediocre at this. I really want to be the best that I could be.
Man, listen, if I feel personally that was really the catalyst to me being where I'm at today, because I could have just said, yeah, let's get on Skype. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't know nothing about Zoom or Hangout. I just knew about Skype back then, right? Mm-hmm. Let's get on Skype. You know what I'm saying? PayPal me, $50 and I'm going to show you. And that's what I was going to charge. And he was like, once he took me through the process, showed me how to set up my systems, he said, you're going to charge $300 for that course. I said, what? I said, man, I wouldn't even pay $300 for this course. And he said, nah, you teaching them how to make money. You can't be charging $50 like that. You know what I'm saying? That now you got this hustler mentality. You just trying to make a little money. If you want to turn this into a business, you got to treat it like one. So I said, okay. So I put a $299 price tag on it. And man, listen, y'all, when people started signing up, I got nervous. I started getting I started getting imposter syndrome. Like, I don't think I can deliver. I don't know if, what if they say it ain't worth it? What if they don't like it? What if everything I teach? I mean, I started freaking out. So I took it down after 26 people signed up for it. I took it down and said, I'm not taking no more people. You know what I'm saying? 20. Now you do the math. 297 times 26. You know what I'm saying? And I got scared. I was like, I took it down immediately. And people was sending me messages like, hey, I'm trying to sign up. Today's payday for me. I said, we're not taking no more people. And I did the class, man. And
you stopped taking people.
Yeah, man. Imposter syndrome is so real. And so I remember I did the course on a Thursday night, and I didn't even finish. I had like 2 hours left, and I was like, so what we're gonna do, y'all, tomorrow, y'all meet me back here at the same time at the same link, and I'm gonna teach y'all some more. They're like, wait, there's more? You mean you taught us all this stuff? You mean to tell me you're gonna teach us more tomorrow? They were already like, yo, you gave us everything we wanted and more. You mean to tell us we're gonna come back, you gonna give us some more? And I was like, yeah. I'm gonna teach you how to drop ship, how to bring stuff in. I just taught you how to sell what you already have. I'm gonna show you how to order stuff in bulk. I gave them like this they were just like, oh my God, we'll be back. And like, man, I ended up over delivering. And so what I did, this was in October of 2014. I did a class every Friday after that through December. for $297, and I was averaging about 30, 40 people every time.
That's what you call betting on yourself.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that you didn't stop doing it and you didn't let that imposter syndrome really just take you all the way out. Because you could have said, okay, man, I'm about to just send everybody their money back.
Yeah.
Like,
Hey,
this.
I was this close. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was very, because let me tell you something. I did not touch any of that money until almost, I had already started doing the second class before I even touched the first class, because I was thinking, what if they want a refund? Well, I mean, like, that's just where my mind was. I was like, this is too good to be true. Mm-hmm. I was looking at you like, I just made $7,700 teaching something that I know that's so simple. And like, people are, what if they realize it ain't as good as what they thought? Maybe it's just, man, I'm telling you, that imposter syndrome stuff is real. I had about $12,000 sitting in my PayPal account after the second one before I touched a penny of it. And even when I was like, finally like, okay, let me go ahead and start, dividending my money up and stuff like that, I don't think I even really was grasping the whole concept that this money was mine until, man, almost like December. I was like 3-4 classes in, almost $20,000 just sitting in an account that I was too scared to touch, because I was thinking, this can't be real. Come on, really? You know what I'm saying? It takes me 4 or 5 months to make this much money in a job. You mean to tell me I make this in a weekend? I just couldn't grasp it. But I tell you what, I got it now.
So I kind of want to talk about that imposter.
Let's go into imposter syndrome.
What you doing? What you got?
Because I kind of wanted to go with the drop shipping, man, and like really getting back into like when you got started and you first learned about eBay. How do people like start doing that type of stuff? Because like, a lot of people, they want to sell online, but they don't really know like their first steps.
So I'm gonna tell you, man, I was at the time when I started selling on eBay, I had finally got another job. And somebody was like, I was like, man, I got all these. I had switched from Android to iPhone. But up until I bought the iPhone 6, I was an Android guy. So I had the Galaxy 2, the 3, the 4. I had all these phones, and my wife had them too. So we had like 6, 7 Android phones just sitting in our nightstand. So I was telling somebody, I was like, man, I need to go and put these on Craigslist so I can sell them. And he was like, man, why would you put them on Craigslist? Put them on eBay. You'll get more money. I said, man, who even uses eBay anymore? You know what I'm saying? Because Amazon was popping. He said, man, every time I upgrade my phone, I sell it on eBay. It goes like that. And I make way more money on eBay than I do Craigslist. So I said, really? He said, yeah, just take some pictures from it and post them on there. So, man, one night I was getting some stuff together and I said, man, let me go get these phones. And I took a picture of the phones and I just went and watched a YouTube video on how to list your items on eBay. So I opened me up an eBay account. Took me about 2 hours to list those phones because I was trying to figure it out, the pictures, all that other stuff. Man, by the time I finished listing them, shut down my computer, walked to my bathroom to take a shower and get ready for bed, one of them had already sold. I was like, what? So then I get ready for bed, man. I wake up the next morning, the other 4 had sold. I only had 2 left. By the time I packaged them all up, drove to the post office, and dropped them off, the last 2 had sold. So literally in a 24-hour period, all 6 of these phones sold. So in my head, I'm thinking, yo, if people are selling their phones cheaper on Craigslist, I can go buy those phones and sell them on eBay. So I started buying phones off Craigslist, $50, $25, and I'll sell them on eBay for $150 to $200. And at one time, I had over 250 iPhone 4s. Those were like 3 generations behind of the new ones that I had in my house. And man, I got so good at it that I was actually listing and selling phones before I would actually find them to buy on Craigslist. Damn. That's how crazy it was. And then so I was like, okay, now I got to find, if this is selling like that, what else can I sell? And I started learning about, people like to buy the lightning cables and the charging cables and the cases and stuff, man. So I started like, well, where can I buy that stuff? And that's where I found out about buying in bulk overseas in China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan, and shipping it here and selling it, you know what I'm saying, at a premium. So man, I was buying lightning cables where I was paying like $1.50 for like 3 feet, 6 feet, and 9 feet cables. And I was turning around selling them for $9.97 a piece. And man, I was selling about 300 to 500 cables a week. And I was getting shipments in on probably every 3 to 5 days because, you know, it takes about 20 some odd days to get here. So I was ordering like on a weekly basis so much that I would get shipments in like almost every week, sometimes twice a week, of just cables and cases and all this other stuff, man. Then I started, I brought one of these here because I figured we would talk about it. I started selling these little manicure sets. And these sets, man, is basically when you open them up, they got like all these, like, you know, your nail clippers, clean under your nails. It's like a manicure set. And I was getting these for $4.97. These things were selling at $39.99 a piece. And then, you know, I started going on Periscope and like showing my shipments. And I was getting so many shipments in, I had to rent a storage unit. And so I would go and do a live like, yo, check out my shipments that came in today. The UPS guy would be meeting me over at my storage unit. I'd open it up and they'd be like, what's all those boxes? And I'd be showing them cables and phones and, you know, shirts and, you know, you name it, man, I was selling it. And then I would show them how I would be taking all this stuff in a U-Haul sometimes and I would go to the post office with it. And people was just like, their mind was blown, like, what is this dude doing? How are you getting all this stuff? And you know what I'm saying? That's how we got into
it. Man, that's the true story of a hustler. I
Real
love that,
serial
man.
entrepreneur.
God damn. So once you were starting to do that, did you like set up a system? Because it sounded like you had a lot of shit going on. Like, how did you manage all of that, man?
So, man, what it was just me, you know, it was a lot of 6-hour nights of sleeping and, you know what I'm saying, 18 hours of being up. At the time, man, I was still working full time. Damn. So not only, you know, I'm going in 6 a.m. to 3 o'clock, I'm getting off at 3 o'clock and I'm shooting over to my storage unit to organize stuff. And so what I ended up doing, man, was I learned about Amazon and FBA, where you can actually have the stuff shipped to Amazon and they sell it for you. And at the time I had started getting into the water bottles, like the fruit infused water bottles and different things like that, and researching that kind of stuff. And so I started having stuff shipped to Amazon. And so instead of having all this stuff in a storage unit, I would still sell stuff on eBay, but not at the volume I was before because I was shipping it to Amazon. Mm-hmm. So basically the system that I had, man, was I started working on drop shipping. Cause I'm like, yo, I need, you know, like the volume in the customer base is at eBay, but I can't keep up with this demand by myself. And I didn't really trust a lot of people. So I'm like, I can't really hire somebody because what if they start taking stuff? So then, man, I learned about drop shipping where I could order the stuff and just set my delivery date for 15 days, 20 days, and I could just order it and just have it shipped directly from these places that I was getting it in bulk to the customers, and then just cut out the whole inventory thing altogether. That took me about 2 months to finally get it tuned in and locked in. And after that 2 months, I sold everything that was in my storage unit. And when I was getting ready to close the storage unit, that's when I found out about how you could buy storage units that people, you know, stopped messing up on. Then I started buying storage units and selling that stuff on eBay and Craigslist. And man, me, my wife, my mom, and somebody else, we just started, you know what I'm saying? We were just meeting people there, selling stuff on Craigslist, selling stuff on eBay. And we built like this big 6-figure empire doing that. And then, you know, then I got into teaching people and then started, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm making all this money. I'm making all this money from my job. I'm making all this money from here. I got to start figuring out where I can put this money. And that's when I got into investing. And then I got into rental properties. And then it just grew from there.
Man, see, I ain't even know you want to go into storage and shit either, man. What you got?
I really want to go into the storage units, like buying the storage units that people haven't paid on. Like I'm a big Storage Wars fan. Like I watch storage in my free time. Like that's pretty cool to like go in and tell you, but you don't know what you're getting. It's kind of like a mystery what you're getting and trying to sell that stuff off for profit.
Yeah, man. Some people, I'll tell you something, man. Some people got these units and they just got nothing but junk in there that ain't worth nothing. You like, why are you paying all this money to keep this in here? And some stuff you get and you like, why are you paying so little money to keep all this stuff in here? I had a storage unit one time, man, that we bought. Somebody had this furniture store and they defaulted on these 3 storage units. And so we were able to buy 2 of them. The other one we wasn't able to get. We opened it up, living room sets, bedroom sets, dressers, mirrors. I got pictures of it too, man. And I couldn't believe it. And man, that stuff sold like hotcakes, man. I mean, like they even still had the prices on them where he had them set up in his store where, you know, they got the little display on the tables and we were just selling them for half the price. I paid $1,500 for one unit and $1,200 for the other one. And we ended up making close to $7,000 off both those units.
God damn. So how do you find out like this? Do they post this at the storage units? If someone
It was by accident. I was going there cleaning out my unit, getting it cleaned out so I could take everything in, and they had all these like units up and people like it wasn't a lot of people coming, but all these doors were up. So I went in there and I was like, yo, what's going on? Does someone own all these units? They're like, no, today is auction day. I said, what's auction day? They said, well, if people don't pay their storage units after 3 months or however months and they don't pay it, we break the locks and we open it up and people can come auction on them. I said, well, what do you got to do it? Do I got to get an auctioneer's license or nothing? She just kind of laughed. She's like, no, so you just go out there and look and you can bid on it. You just can't walk in and you can't look around. You just got to bid. And so they're like halfway up. You know what I'm saying? They're not even all the way up. They're like halfway up. And you can kind of look around and see. And so I was like, well, how much is this one? She's like, well, give us an offer. The bidding starts at this. I was like, what? I said, well, $225. You know what I'm saying? Because the bidding started at $200. She looked around. She said, going once. And there was nobody else around. I thought it was a joke. She's like, going once, going twice, sold to the gentleman right here. And I was like, well, where's it? Really? And she's like, yeah, it's yours. But you got to go pay up at the front. So I paid up at the front, went into there, and this dude had all these tools. I remember like it was yesterday. It was tools. They had all these little roller things for like an auto shop. Mm-hmm. Different like stools that you roll around in, like, and they were all Snap-on, which is a really good brand.
Yeah, that's a big company.
And the tools were, I mean, they weren't new, but they looked brand new. And so, man, I just started posting them on eBay and Craigslist. It took me about a week and a half to sell it. I made a little over $700 off that.
Man.
And so I was like, well, and I went in there, I was like, when is your next auction thing? She's like, well, we have them every Saturday, but the best time to come is during the winter time because a lot of people, they just default and a lot of people don't come out, but you can come any weekend. If we have them, you'll see them up. And then I started flipping storage units after that.
That's dope, man. I'm about to go to the few storage units, guys.
Yeah, man.
George, bro, I do want to ask you, because like you with the selling on eBay and the Amazon and all that selling online, I wanted to ask you, how were you marketing your business? Like, what were some ways that you were getting it out there? Because posting on eBay, like, I know they like people looking on eBay, so there's already some organic traffic there. But did you do like any other advertising?
Never. That's what trips people out to this day. I never did any advertising. I never really thought to do it because everything I put on there is sold. So I never really even thought. I probably could have sold stuff faster, but I never had a problem selling anything because I did enough research on my competition and what other people were selling to where I would price my stuff a certain way. But then I also found out how the algorithm would work. So I knew what to put in my titles and I knew what to put in my descriptions to where they would always go to the top. Mm-hmm. It was like a cheat code. But I'm going to be honest with y'all, brothers. I still to this day don't know how did that work, but it just did. You know what I'm saying? Because I would go on like my laptop or somewhere else and I would search for a particular phone and mine would always be in the top 3 to 5. And I never paid for it. And some of the people above me and even below me were like sponsored ads. And here I am, this dude in the middle, organic. Ain't, you know what I'm saying, ain't paid for nothing. And it just sold. I just learned what to put in the title and then what to put in the description so that I just got into I basically went back to my days of when I was in internet marketing where I learned about search engine optimization. Mm-hmm. And I just basically applied that same concept to eBay, and believe it or not, man, it worked.
Hey, that's dope, bro.
And that's like that's dope because I like that you use the skill from a job, because you know we talk about that a lot too. Whenever you're doing a job, you should always look at the things that you're doing as something that you can monetize for yourself later.
Right.
Now, shit.
Yeah, I don't care like what type of job it is. Even if you just a cashier at like the dollar store, that should be you figuring out how can I be the best customer service rep I can be. Or even if you're a janitor, man, how am I going to be the best janitor? How can I take this? I could probably start a cleaning service off of this. Now I know how to wax. I know how to strip. I know how to do it. Everything that you do,
No
like
such
David,
thing as a wasted opportunity.
Everything you can learn and you can build off of.
Man, it's funny you said the janitorial thing, man. I'm going to share a story with y'all if y'all don't mind. This guy on Periscope was following me, and he was like, man, I'm a janitor. I don't make a lot of money, but I want to learn how to get into eBay. And so I was like, okay. So, you know, he set up a coaching call with me and was telling me how he wanted to get into eBay to make more money. And I started asking him more about, I was like, what do you do? And he told me, and I said, well, you know, what exactly do you do as far as a janitor? Are you just taking out trash? He's like, no, I strip and wax floors. I do this, I do that. I said, okay, man, this course is $300. He said, okay, I saved up the money. I'm going to go buy it now. I said, no, you're not. I said, this is what you're going to do. Where do you live? And he told me, and I found a wholesale cleaning supply store. I said, man, here's what you need to do. You need to go buy all the supplies that you need. And then what you're going to do, I'm giving y'all some free game. I said, you're going to go to Craigslist, and you're going to go into the services section, and you're going to look for places that have a business that are promoting their services. So physicians are on there, dental offices are on there, attorneys are on there, different places like that. And I said, you're going to send them an email or call their number and offer your services to them. And he said, well, man, I do this already for a job. I said, how much do you make on your job? And he said, I make $9.50 an hour. I said, you're going to charge, you know what I'm saying? I was like, so you make $9.50 an hour. I said, here's what you're going to do. You're going to charge people about $100 to $150, depending on the size of their building. I want you to walk in there. If it takes you 2 hours or less, it's $100. Anything over 2 to 4 hours, it's $150. He's like, okay. And you could tell he was hesitant. So I walked through it with him, you know, helped him go to Fiverr, get a logo, all this other stuff. And this dude ended up getting 2 clients that first week. One was $150, the other one was $100. He would knock them out in 2.5 hours. So he made what would take him 1 week of working 40 hours a week in like one night. And he was doing them twice a week. So he was making more money in 1 week than he was for his 2-week check. And in 2 weeks, for only working 2 nights a week, he was making more than he made 1 month. And now this dude has about 15 cleaning clients, and he still has his job. And he makes more in his business than he does his job, but he likes what he does in his job. Plus, he's got a retirement that he's waiting on. And this dude is he went from making a little less than what, $2,200-$2,300 a month to he makes about $5,000, $6,000 a month now, doing exactly what he does in his 9 to 5.
I love it. I love it. And that's a good segue so we could transition into you doing the business coaching, man. Because we talked about how, you know, you coach through the eBay and everything, but now you use your talents to really help people start these businesses, man. Was that the first kind of instance where you kind of went with the business coaching unknowingly?
No. So when I went into business coaching is when I started teaching. Whenever I started telling people the stories, or when I would come on live and I'd be like, hey, you know, I'm going over here to flip this over here, or hey, I'm going to go look at rental properties, y'all. You know, come with me and check them out. I bought my first rental property live, you know what I'm saying, on Periscope. And so people are like, yo, you got a rental property off of your eBay store? You know, like, yeah. And so I started doing all these things. And so people were like, do you have a class on rental properties? Do you got a class on flipping storage units? Do you have a class on this? And then when people found out, because my background is in engineering, so I'm a certified systems engineer through Microsoft, EMC, so I deal a lot in the technology world. So I have a couple of clients also that are small businesses that I do IT services for. So when people start saying, man, how many businesses you got? And I was like, well, I got this, I got that, I got this. And they were seeing me doing it. It wasn't that I was just saying it because, you know, a lot of people on social media give lip service. I would actually go live and take people with me on my days of what it is that I'm doing. So they seeing how I work and how I move. And people started asking, do you offer coaching? And I was like, well, yeah, I do, but, you know, I'm not taking clients right now because I went through coaching with that guy and set everything up, but I was just so busy I couldn't do it. So once I tuned everything in to where I wasn't doing as much eBay and I wasn't selling the storage units as much anymore because the quality was just going down and, you know, I had money coming in other places, that's when I opened up my evenings. But what I did was I actually went and attended the Universal Coaching Institute, got my certification for business coaching and life coaching because I wanted to know how to do it the right way. And I spent, you know, quite a bit of money to get those certifications. And then I started coaching people and just, they would basically come to me and I said, okay, tell me about yourself. Tell me about this. And I got a good intake process. And when they tell me what it is, I just got this gift where I can break something down and say, this is what we need to build and brand you as. And man, we've had several people, man, that have gone out and done great for themselves and just killing it in the online space, man. That's kind of how I got into it.
I love it. It speaks a lot to like your character though, bro. You a go-giver. Like every time, every instance, like you're not just coming in there, hey man, you came for this service, I'm gonna just give you that. You're like, no, let me know about you so you can actually help them out the
Provide
best way
some real
possible.
value.
Yeah. So I love that, man.
Yeah, man. You know, like the guy that came to me for the eBay class, and I still practice this to this day. You know, when I was, you know, asking the questions and stuff like that, he's like, well, I would just go to the library and just do everything there. And I'm like, nah, man, you need a scanner, you need a printer, you're going to be paying for that. And then when he was talking about it, I'm just like, how would that even look if this guy's bringing in random stuff into the library, taking pictures, getting on the computer? And so I started asking him more questions, and he really wasn't tech savvy, so I knew that wasn't going to be something beneficial for him. Yeah, I could have took the $300 and made it, but you know, he would have never, there's a good chance he might not win anywhere with that knowledge. So that's kind of what birthed me to get into the business coaching side. Cause I'm like, you got a lot of people out here buying stuff and enrolling and registering for stuff that they really probably don't even have the skill sets to do. And it's not to say that they're not capable of doing. I think people are capable of doing anything they put their mind to. But if you can accelerate that process by putting them in the right thing, they're going to win a lot quicker and faster than they will put them in something that's not really original to organic, so to speak.
You was meant to be a coach, bro. Just because, like, whenever now I'm thinking about great coaches, like the NBA coaches, like Pop and Belichick and everything. They understand how to use their people to the best of their ability. They're going to say, okay, this is the system, but we're going to see how we can work you out in the system the best way we can. So it definitely seems like that's a calling on your life. Like you was meant to be a coach because you just understand how to break people down and really just utilize.
I know every time I done talk to this man, he done blessed me with a few gems.
I'm telling you, bro.
Man, it's all about just putting people, like you said, man, it's all about putting people in the right position, man. You know, you've got a lot of people out here, and you know, I don't take nothing away from people that, hey, you know, you pay for a session, you get this, I'm going to give you what you pay for and just move on. But, you know, sometimes, man, at the end of the day, especially when you get into a place where you're blessed financially, and you really don't need the money, it's just that I value my time. I can take time to really break a person down and say, nah, you know, I understand you want to do this because you see all these other people doing it and you think that would be great, but your strength's going to be over here. And let me tell you why. When I start to break it down to them, they're like, I don't know why I never saw that. And I'm like, well, it's because you're too busy looking to your left and your right and you're not looking up front. The reason Michael Phelps beat the brakes off that dude that he was racist because the dude was paying so much attention to Phelps, and Phelps was just like locked into the finish line that this dude didn't even realize, hey, if you just would have kept at the pace you was going, you probably could have beat him, but you was too busy focusing on what he was doing. You didn't realize that your strength was just, you know what I'm saying, staying in your lane. And so, you know, once you help people get into their lanes, man, because one thing about being in your lane, you can go as fast as slow as you want to, and you ain't got to worry about passing nobody because your lane is your lane. So that's why, you know what I'm saying, I love what I do, man, and just, you know what I'm saying? I thank God for putting me in the position to do that, man, because I love seeing people win.
Hey, man. I told y'all, gems, bro.
Hey,
Always gems, bro.
always.
I
So,
love it.
George, my brother, we're going to go ahead and pivot to the last segment of the show, bro. We're going to do what's on your timeline. So I wanted to ask you, my brother, what's something that you seen on social media that you just want to talk about?
So, man, it was actually on the Black Wealth Movement page, man. You had made a post about group economics and how we got to learn how to start using that. And I think that, you know, the reason that, you know, really resonated with me is because some people don't understand the power of group economics. You know, one of my favorite books, man, is The Jewish Phenomenon, right? And it is a great book on how the Jewish population and how they represent the smallest population in every country that they have representation, but they're always in the top 5% in wealth. So they're the smallest population in the United States and Canada, Europe, UK, you name it, but they're always in the top 5% when it comes to wealth. And the way that they work is all group economics. What they do is they train their kids, okay, when they turn 15, they're like, okay, they sit them down, they say, what do you want? I want a nice car. What kind of car do you want? I want a Porsche, Daddy. Well, you know, what color of Porsche? And they ask them all these questions to pull it out of their kids. Because at 15-year-old, you kind of know you kind of know what's hot for you at the time. And they say, okay, this is what you're going to need to do. If you get a Porsche, it's going to cost you about $70,000. Then your insurance is going to cost this much. So you're looking at a total of this much a month. How you going to do that, son? Or how you going to do that, sweetie? And they're like, well, I'm going to work real hard and do it. Okay, but where are you going to work? And they just ask them all these questions. And what they do is say, okay, here's the top 5 jobs that will pay you to be able to afford this. You can become a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant. You know, they break it down. And then they say, this is how much this person makes. And then what they do is that they train this person, okay, make a decision on where you want to go. We're going to pay for your education, and you're going to get an insurance policy. We have $1 million insurance policy on us. When you graduate and you get your first job, our policy now, you have to pay it every month, because if something happens to us, you're going to get the $1 million. Plus, you got to pay yours, and you pass yours on to your kids. And then what they do is that once they work, they have a 10-year limit. So they're like, if you get a 6-figure job, you work there no more than 10 years, you stack 80% of your money, and then you build a business. And whatever you need that you're lacking, people within your family will donate 10% of whatever you need. So if you need $1 million, 10 people are going to donate $100,000 to you, whether they go get a line of credit, or they take it out of their savings, or they cash out their whole life insurance policy, because then you get dollar value from it. So then you go and start your own CPA business, or you go and start a hotel, or you know, a laundromat. This is what they do. And then when you get there, your job is to save 10% of everything you make, so that when the next person, whether it's your sister, your brother, your cousin, or whoever wants to start a business, your 10% is set aside so that you can contribute to that. And that's how they all build businesses all the way up and all the way around, by doing that. And so I've been a big proponent of the Jewish, of how the Jewish community works. And I'm a part of some of the groups now, just because I love how they're all about building wealth, and how they incorporate group economics and how they do it. Every person who starts a business or who goes into school, you got to find a way to live off 25% of your money and save the other 70%. And you put 5% back for a rainy day. And then when you get your business, you have to save 10% of everything you make forever, until you always are a person that the community can tap into for the next person to build their business. And here's the deal. If that person fails their business and it doesn't work, and they come up with another idea, you still give them 10%, and you don't hold it against them until they get it right. It's the best thing I've ever seen before.
Now that's a true testament of group economics. God
Yeah.
damn. Hey, what's the name of that book again? The Jewish
It's called The Jewish Phenomenon. I'll tell you, matter of fact, Jerry is right here. It's The Jewish Phenomenon. Sorry, my bookshelf fell. It's The Jewish Phenomenon, man. It's the revised copy by Steven Silberg.
I'm
This
going
is
to read
one of my
that.
favorite books, man. favorite books. And then there's the Jewish Code. I got a lot of Jewish books, but this one right here, Gym City, man. Gym City.
Y'all definitely read that,
man, because like that group economics piece is really like something that our people, we genuinely do struggle with the concept of it. Mm-hmm. Like we recently talked with Jay Morrison, and we talk with a lot of people about it all the time. Just like our people have all these these preconceived notions about each other, and that like we're just scared to invest with each other. We don't want to do it, and like we always talk about the negative, and we don't see the positive in it. Cause like that just that example of what you just said with the Jewish people, they putting 10% in, and if they fuck up the business, everybody just lost their money, right? Mm-hmm. With us, our community, we chastising that person forever. We not fucking with them no more.
Right?
Terrible. That business was terrible.
We can't fuck with y'all.
We can't fuck with y'all. But they just said, fuck it. We're gonna move it on. We're gonna move on and keep growing as a community.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you got to think, man, if you got a person that's out here trying to start something, just because it don't work, you got somebody that's actually got the mindset. You got someone that's trying to do something that's going to take the family, that's going to take the community to the next level. So maybe that first thing don't work, but you know what I'm saying? You can't hold that against them. You got to, you know what I'm saying? They got the right mindset. They just got to be put in the right position. So it's just like, coaches, when they get an athlete, a guy that's super fast and strong, they're like, okay, he can't catch the ball. You know what I'm saying? But he's really good at tackling. So let's put him in like a linebacker. We'll put some pounds on him. And you know what I'm saying? They keep working with him until they get him in the right position. They don't say, look, man, you fast, you strong, but you can't catch a ball. You know what I'm saying? You this, you that. So football ain't for you. No, they figure it out. They move them around until they get them in the right place. And that person ends up becoming, you know what I'm saying, like a great player. So the thing is that when you got someone on your team like that, i.e. your family, they already got the right mindset. Their heart's in the right place. They just ain't found the right position yet. So if you're in a position to take, you know what I'm saying, to help them figure it out and it's not hurting you, why would you trip on that anyway? I mean, we'll trip on investing $100 into somebody when you got these communities that are investing $100,000 into somebody, only for them to have to turn around a couple years later and do the same thing again, and we over here tripping on $100. It makes no sense, and that's why you got them that are in a position to invest $100,000 a piece, and we over here trying to figure out how we can, you know what I'm saying, get our mind wrapped around investing $100. Yet we're worth billions and billions of dollars in consumer spending. But we can't wrap our heads around investing $100. Makes absolutely no sense to me.
That's crazy. And I just like that getting people in the right position thing, because I feel like that's so important to someone's success, because a lot of times in our community, we don't do like the Jewish people. We don't say, what do you want out of this? It's either, oh, you need to become a doctor, or just go to college, just go work hard. Oh, you need to do this. But we don't really ask and figure out what people are really good at. If you can understand really just how to maximize that person and just put them in a position to be successful, it'll be so much better. Even like with kids, I know we'll see kids, and I've been listening to a lot of Napoleon Hill lately, and he talks about, how whenever we're young, a lot of times our kids, they'll be doing things and we'll kind of chastise them for doing certain things. Even like with the kids right now, a lot of them are playing on Fortnite, or you might see a lot of kids on technology, and our people will be like, hey, get off that game or get off of that tablet. We don't really try to understand and tap into what are you doing on this game, or what are you doing on this tablet, because we don't understand the possibilities that can be had. If you got a child that just want to be on a tablet, put something with coding, put something with some type of tech to where you can start teaching them these type of skills. Or if they're really interested in these games, ask them like, what do you want from these games? Like, what are you really interested in? Because I seen a 13-year-old last year make almost more than $1 million off of winning a Fortnite tournament.
Right.
So if you can give your child, okay, you really like this Fortnite game. I see you can make money off of this. Why not let me find a team you can join, or let me find somewhere where I can put you to be the most successful in that position?
Listen, man, what you just said was a whole mouthful. When I had my son, when we had our son, man, he'll be 3 next week. When he was 2.5 hours old, I opened him up a stock account, and I bought him a whole bunch of stock. And every week since then, I bought him stock. But one of the things that I did this week, man, that's something that's very near and dear to me, was at 3 years old, my son, I put my son in a advanced learning development school for STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, because he can work his way around the phone at 2 years old really good. And so instead of me being like, some of our friends be like, you shouldn't let him do that on the phone, you shouldn't let him do this. I mean, he knows how to remove apps, how to FaceTime me, how to call grandma. He knows that stuff. He's doing that stuff at 2. So I was like, I need to help him tap into this more. But like to add on to what it is that you're thinking, if your kid is playing games on their phone and they like that, get into their mind, hey son, hey baby, how would you like to make your own game? What, my own game? Like, yeah, what if I get you over here? Because there's like schools around here. There's one here called tech something, I can't remember, but they teach kids how to make their own apps. And then, imagine getting your kid hyped up to where, how would you like to make your own game, and teaching them how to do that? Software developers make $113,000 on average a year in the United States. Software developers. Those are people that create apps and different things like that. So you get a 4 or 5-year-old that you can teach how to do an app, and then you put them in like a STEM type training school or something like that for the next 2 or 3 years before they go to school. They're at the next level. And we got chastised by our family, like, y'all paying how much a month? We don't even pay that in our mortgage. And it's like, look, the reason that we wanted to do this, because 1, we're in position to do it. 2, it's none of your damn business. And 3, we want to give our son an opportunity to win. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is that when he goes to school, my job is not to depend on the teachers to teach him. My job is to give him every opportunity to learn in any capacity, whether it's through me or anybody else. So as a business coach, what good is it that I can break down someone else and I can't even break down my own child? If I'm seeing what he's doing and I'm seeing that he's liking something, I have to catch myself and be like, don't do that, stop that, get off that. I got to be like, why is he doing that? I just kind of watch him. And then I ask him questions, and people will be surprised if you just talk to your damn kids. They can tell you a lot about why they're doing stuff or what it is that they're doing, and you can tap into more about, okay, how do I help him get farther along with that to where it becomes beneficial for him instead of just something that he does to waste time.
Man, I love it, my brother. And for those of y'all who are listening in some of those programs that you just mentioned, if you can't afford it, I'm going to be honest, there's a lot of things that are for free. There's a lot of programs that you can find where half of the times you ain't got to come out of no money. Because if you really think about it, this science, math, technology, engineering, that's what drives the country. That's what's going to push civilization forward. So a lot of times people are really funding those type of things. So if you're in a position where you just like, man, I don't know, get on Google. Just get on Google. Search it.
They got opportunities out there.
Or you know what? Here's an idea. I don't know. This sounds crazy. Go buy a book. Because guess what? If you learn it and you teach your kids, you can benefit from it right now. You know what I'm saying? I watched this thing the other day on, I love watching PBS NewsHour, and they got this thing called Making Sense. And it's a thing that breaks down economics and the economy. That's about the only TV I watch outside of football. And there was this guy that was begging for money, and this dude who was a software developer was like, look, I'm not going to give you any money, but if you're really serious about getting a job, every day after work, I will come, I'll bring my laptop, we'll go over here to the park, and I'm going to teach you how to code. And he taught this black guy how to code, and this dude ended up getting a job with a Fortune 500 company, making $80,000 a year. This was about 5 years ago. But now they developed an app that's been downloaded, I think, over like 1 million times. And there's no telling how much money they're making on that ad, just off of the ad, just the ads and stuff like that you can sell on the App Store and stuff like that. This was a dude begging for money, and you had a guy that walked by him and said, look, you know, I'm not going to give you, I'll take you to go get something to eat. And every day that I leave work, I will come out here. And if you're serious, I'll teach you how to code where you can get a good job and I'll buy you dinner every night. And they did it for a whole month. And the dude ended up helping him get a job. And he got a job making $80,000 a year, because you don't need an education in technology like that. If you know what you know, man, you can get hired, because experience always outweighs, you know what I'm saying, the education, believe it or not, especially in technology. I mean, Google just came out with a thing saying they no longer require a degree to work for them, because they're saying we're missing out on too good a talent, hiring people straight out of college that just know the basics, and you got these people that know the advancement of it. So, yeah, man, get these books, start reading with your kids, learning with your kids, and both of y'all create an app, build a website together, and start building websites for people.
Start building wealth together. I love it.
That's it, man.
So, George, can you tell the people where they can find you at, if they want to get in some coaching? Just plug yourself in, all of that stuff, my brother.
Yeah, so, man, you can find me on all social media platforms at Mr. George Pitts on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Periscope, you name it, I'm there, Twitter. You can also go to my website, MrGeorgePitts.com. And check out some of the things that we've got. Since then, you know, I know we talked about the eBay course, but we've got a ton of courses out there. We've got a course on credit repair that's really hot right now. We got a course on stock investing for beginners to teach people how they can get into the stock things and breaking down the fundamentals of a company's income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow statement. We've got tons of stuff out there, man. So make sure you tap into it. Visit MrGeorgePitts.com. Also, make sure you follow me on all social media platforms. I do trainings. I've committed myself to do one training a month free on Zoom for people on just multiple different subjects. So make sure you guys are tapping in because, like I said, my thing is I'm trying to give back to the community and get people to really take advantage of the opportunities that we got out here instead of waiting on somebody to give us one.
I love it. I love it.
Shit. Well, before we wrap this one up, y'all, we're going to do a couple of housekeeping items. First and foremost, always thank y'all, everybody, for listening to the Black Wealth Renaissance podcast. Continue to like, share, subscribe, rate us. We like to see sharing it, spreading the word. We've been getting a lot of love lately online with the pod, so I love to hear y'all keep sharing that. Also, y'all make sure to check out our book, Manage Your Money Like the 1%. It just released in worldwide in stores and online,
eBay, on Amazon,
all that.
Yeah,
we got the paperback version that's finally here. You can get.
We also got it on Kindle too. If you're a Kindle reader,
We still got the ebook available as well, but the book is available now in all these different formats. I know a lot of people have been waiting for that actual physical copy, so that's available, and we're gonna have that tag down in the show notes.
Yeah. And I just want to say once again, thank y'all, man. Just be on the lookout for all the other services that we got coming out. We will be releasing our subscription service. It's going to be webinar based, and we're just going to be teaching y'all a few variety of different topics. So it's not just going to be focused on real estate. If you're a person focused on stock, you can do that. It'll also be personal development, mental development. We'll be going over different subjects. So it's going to be for something for everyone. So we're just trying to do like our brother George. We're just trying to give back. We're just trying to help you get on to the next step in your life and really just start changing it, making an impact. Jared or Kelly, y'all got anything, my brothers? All right, I just want to say this is Black Wealth Renaissance signing out. Peace.
Hey, I got money on my mind. I'm just trying to get some dough. I ain't picking up my line.